Part 2, Collision of Worlds. Chapter 8. The Tech Titan's Origin. The expansive sky above Uppsala was nothing short of a neural network. Each star, a node of light transmitting data, speaking in the ancient language of photons and gravity waves. For the young observant Magnus Ericsson, it was a canvas of infinite possibility. The freezing Swedish nights, where breath turned to mist and darkness draped the world, provided an unlikely backdrop for a mind that would illuminate many corners of the globe. Nestled within this wintry tableau, the Ericsson household was a beacon of warmth and wonder. It wasn't just because of the antique wood-burning stove that crackled in the living room or the heirloom rugs that retained generations of familial warmth. The real warmth emanated from the household's philosophy, to question, to explore, and to challenge. This environment was pivotal. A day at school once exposed Magnus to the staggering contrast of worlds. A field trip to Stockholm revealed two parallel universes. In Östermalm's posh boulevards, Magnus saw affluence. People draped in furs, sipping espressos outside heated cafes, their laughter resonating in the cold. A few streets away, life painted a different picture. Homeless souls, their fingers blue from the cold, whispered pleas for spare coins or a warm meal. The duality disturbed young Magnus. The juxtaposition was like a fault line in his understanding of the world. How could technological marvels and advancements coexist with such abject human misery? Stockholm's streets were a circuit board, each individual a component of the vast machine. But while some components thrived with efficient connections, others were left out, neglected. The socio-economic algorithm, Magnus discerned, was flawed. This early confrontation with disparity sowed the seeds for his future ventures. His thirst for knowledge became insatiable. School was no longer just an institution, it was a place of revelations. One lecture on quantum computing became particularly illuminating, making him realize the boundless potentials of the universe and the role technology could play in harnessing it. As Magnus transitioned from boy to man, his goals took shape. Instead of simply understanding the world, he became determined to rewrite its code. From the digital realm of ones and zeros to the molecular intricacies of sustainable energy, Magnus was on a mission. His journey would not be one of pure idealism though. It would be layered with pragmatism, strategy, and an unwavering desire to innovate for a better world. Uppsala's starry sky had birthed a meteoric mind, and the trajectory of Magnus Ericsson was only beginning. Chapter 9. The Ventures of Magnus. The digital revolution was in full swing, the last vestiges of the analog world retreating to the depths of nostalgia and antique shops. Silicon Valley was the arena, and the gladiators were young, tech-savvy, and incredibly ambitious. Among them was Magnus Ericsson, a Nordic prodigy armed not with a sword, but with algorithms and circuitry. His initial foray into the entrepreneurial cosmos was nothing short of audacious, a hyper-secure digital communication system named Nornet. While encryption was its chief hallmark, its deeper philosophy was that of connection, the creation of an unbroken digital bridge from the fjords of Norway to the beaches of Thailand, and every node in between. It wasn't a smooth ride. Silicon Valley, for all its sheen of camaraderie and innovation, was rife with competition. Nornet's early days were marked by frequent system crashes, IP theft attempts, and a particularly ruthless smear campaign by a rival tech conglomerate. But Magnus, being the cerebral titan he was, always had another line of code, another strategy up his sleeve. Parallel to Magnus's narrative, Elon Musk, a name now synonymous with electric vehicles and interplanetary dreams, was crafting his vision. Their paths, while similar in ambition, deviated in direction. Elon gazed at the stars, aiming to turn humanity into a multi-planetary species. Magnus, on the other hand, peered through the digital lattice of Earth, aiming to make the world a single interconnected entity. It was not that Magnus lacked the fascination for space, he just saw an immediate need closer to home. In his mind, a globally connected world was the first step towards a universally connected universe. As Elon's rockets roared into the mesosphere, Magnus's ventures proliferated on Earth. After the stabilized success of Nornet, came Link Loom, a decentralized internet service providing connectivity to even the most remote and disenfranchised regions of the world. The Sahara could chat with Siberia, and Patagonia could video call Papua New Guinea. Magnus's empire expanded, but not without its share of failures. Glow Gloves, his attempt at wearable tech that mimicked real-time tactile sensations over the internet, was a financial black hole. Yet, even in failure, Magnus learned, adapted, and recalibrated. As years morphed into decades, two things became clear: both Magnus and Elon were architects of the future. But while one laid the blueprint for worlds beyond, the other ensured that no one on this world was left behind. The tale of their ventures was not just about tech, space, or even connectivity. It was a testament to human endeavor, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of a dream. And as Magnus Eriksson looked back at his legacy, he realized that his journey was not about reaching a destination, but about the myriad connections made along. Chapter 10. The Convergence. Beneath the cold neon glow of the urban behemoth that was San Francisco, Magnus Eriksson sat ensconced in his lair of innovation, a skyscraper that seemed more circuitry than concrete. Screens plastered walls, algorithms ran like rivers, and amidst the digital cacophony, the Nordic tech mogul was a stoic island, always in search of the next big wave. It was on a rather nondescript Thursday that the wave found him. News traveled in peculiar ways in the age of hyperconnectivity, and as he sifted through an ocean of emails, one caught his eye. It wasn't its subject line, which was rather mundane, innovative our venture from South. It was the sender, an old academic colleague from the ethereal halls of MIT. Inside, the details unfurled. A Dr. Elysia from Columbia was pioneering something revolutionary. An AR game, named GRATITOPIA, that merged the tangible with the intangible, and the digital with the heartfelt. Magnus, usually unshakable in his demeanor, found himself entranced. Here was a project that wasn't just about ones and zeros or profit margins. It was about gratitude, empathy, and humanity. It echoed his own dreams of a connected world but added layers he hadn't envisioned, layers of human emotion and interaction. The screens around him continued their visual symphony, but for once, they blurred into insignificance. His mind was in Medellin, visualizing the streets, sensing the passion of the Grati Labs team, and most of all, feeling an inexplicable connection with Dr. Grati. In the annals of history, moments like these are often dubbed fate or destiny. For Magnus, it was a node in the vast network of life that demanded to be explored. Without hesitation, he penned a response. It was short, crisp, and to the point, characteristic of Magnus but laden with palpable excitement. Dr. Grati, it began, your vision intrigues me. Let's weave this tapestry together. In that ephemeral digital instant, two worlds, one rooted in the Andean rhythms of Colombia and the other in the tech-laden hum of Silicon Valley, began their dance of convergence. The horizon promised a collaboration that could redefine humanity's digital age. Chapter 11. A Beacon of Hope. Elysia sat in her office in Medellin, surrounded by blueprints, algorithmic scribbles, and an overwhelming aroma of freshly brewed Colombian coffee. Her window painted a vista of rolling hills and the distant hum of the city. But today, her focus was sharply etched on the task at hand, crafting a proposal for Magnus Eriksson, the man whose very name could reshape the destiny of GRATITOPIA. The paper before her was still intimidatingly blank, save for a single phrase inked in elegant cursive, "The future is grateful." It was her anchor, a motto that had guided her through many a restless night. But how to distill a dream, her dream, into words that would resonate with a titan of tech? Every fiber of her being recognized the weight of this juncture. Magnus was no ordinary investor. He was a visionary, and she needed to mirror that vision but with the warmth of humanity interwoven. With a deep breath she began. In a world saturated with bytes and pixels, where genuine human connection often feels as elusive as a mirage, GRATITOPIA stands as an oasis. Hours turned into days. The proposal was more than just data, it was a narrative. A story of a game that wasn't just a pastime, but a lifeline to genuine human connection grounded in gratitude. In a corner of Grati Labs, a makeshift stage had been erected. It was here that Elysia decided to rehearse her pitch. Her team, a kaleidoscope of talent and enthusiasm, gathered, their faces a mix of eagerness and trepidation. Her voice wavered at first, betraying her nerves. But with every word, with every slide, her confidence grew. The room transformed from a mere practice stage to a microcosm of what might soon be their reality. GRATITOPIA pitched to the world through the lens of Magnus. As she concluded, a momentary hush settled, then erupted into applause. They were ready. In the dim glow of her office, Elysia paused to reflect. This wasn't just about securing funding or a partnership. It was about holding aloft a beacon of hope in an oftentimes cynical digital world. Her heart raced, not just from nervous anticipation, but from a fervent hope that their paths, hers and Magnus's, would soon align to illuminate a future built on gratitude. Chapter 12. The Past That Haunts. In the heart of a sprawling mansion nestled on the outskirts of Caracas, Daniel stood, surrounded by opulence most could only dream of. Golden chandeliers dripped from the ceiling, intricate murals told tales of power and dominion, and every shadow seemed to whisper secrets of dominion and control. To any outsider, it was a palace. To Daniel, it was a gilded cage. The house, an emblem of his family's rise to power, bore the scars of Venezuela's tumultuous history and the divisive role his lineage had played in it. Each room, a testimony to their prominence. Yet behind the imposing facades and beneath the gold-leafed canvases lay stories that Daniel found increasingly difficult to reconcile with. He often found himself wandering the halls late at night, tormented by an internal discord. Memories of his childhood with Elysia, a time of innocence and shared dreams, continually clashed with the reality of his family's dealings. Their laughter echoed in his mind, a stark contrast to the somber tones of hushed meetings and political machinations he often overheard from behind closed doors. In his private quarters, a room more modest than most in the estate, lay a shoebox. A treasure trove of their shared past. Old photographs, scribbled notes, and a dried-up magnolia, a remnant of a day spent beneath the vast Venezuelan skies. Touching the faded petals, memories surged. Of a time before the divide, before politics and power painted their fates in starkly different hues. He remembered a promise made under a sprawling tree, where two children vowed to change the world together. Yet, the weight of his family's legacy bore down on him. Their expectations, their vision for Venezuela, and the pivotal role they expected him to play in it. A role that would position him at odds with Elysia's dream of a unified grateful world. It was this dichotomy, the heart versus heritage, that haunted Daniel's every step. As the dawn's first light streamed into his room, reflecting off the magnolia's withered petals, he was reminded of the looming crossroads. One that would force him to choose between the past shadows and the hope of a shared future. Chapter 13. Shadows emerge. In a dimly lit room, away from the prying eyes of Atlanta's bustling streets, a gathering of men and women stood clustered around a table. Their attire, sharp, understated, and practical, revealed little about them, yet their collective demeanor resonated an authority that could not be overlooked. Projected on the wall was an image of the GRATITOPIA logo, its vibrant colors contrasting starkly against the room's austerity. Beside it were snippets of code, user statistics, and pictures of key GRATILabs members. At the head of the table stood a woman, her piercing blue eyes scanning each face present. Valeria Miroslav, a name whispered in hushed tones in certain circles. She was the syndicate's leader, a position she'd clawed her way up to, overcoming both adversaries and allies. With a vast web of contacts and a mind as sharp as a whip, she was their strategic compass. "GRATITOPIA," she began, her voice a soft but unmistakable hiss, "threatens to rewrite our world's power structures." She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. "It undermines everything we've worked for, everything we've built." A man at the corner, an expert in cyber warfare, chimed in, "Its open source nature, its infectious idealism. It's not just a game. It's an ideology, spreading faster than we anticipated." Another, adept in corporate espionage, added, "The sheer amount of data it's amassing, the alliances it's forging. It's not just the Americas. It's global." Valeria looked at the projections, her fingers drumming a staccato rhythm on the table. "We need to curtail its influence, now, before it's too deeply embedded in the societal fabric." She had a personal stake in this. Innovations like GRATITOPIA threatened the very foundation of her power. With every user expressing gratitude, with every GRA ticket converted into GRATIcoin, she felt the tremors of change, a change she wasn't ready for. "It's time we introduce GRATILabs to the real world," she said, a hint of malice creeping into her tone. "Initiate Phase 1. Let's see how their utopia stands against a little chaos." As the group disbanded, hidden plans were set into motion. Dark tendrils of manipulation, cyber attacks, and espionage started to weave their way toward GRATITOPIA, threatening the beacon of hope it promised to be. Chapter 14. A meeting of minds. Amidst the architectural marvels of Magnus's tech hub, the pristine conference room seemed more like a futuristic sanctuary. Panoramic windows displayed the city skyline, while cutting-edge holographs floated, creating a juxtaposition of the world outside and the digital realm within. Elysia stood at the room's center, her heart thumping loudly but her resolve unwavering. She clutched her holographic slides, displaying GRATITOPIA's expansive virtual world and its revolutionary mechanics. Opposite her, Magnus sat, an enigma wrapped in a tailored suit, his hawkish eyes scanning every detail, missing nothing. "So," he began, breaking the anticipatory silence, "Dr. Grati, why should I invest in a game? I've quite literally got satellites to launch." Elysia drew a deep breath. "Because, Mr. Magnus, this isn't just a game. It's a movement. A revolution in understanding human connections, empathy, and gratitude. Every action in GRATITOPIA ripples out into the real world, creating tangible change." She projected snippets of players leaving thank you notes around the globe, geotagged stories of kindness, and then the data, rising metrics of positivity and societal impact. Magnus leaned forward, intrigued. And these GRA tickets? A clever gimmick, or something more? Elysia smiled, sensing an opening. They're a testament, Mr. Magnus. A testament to every act of kindness, gratitude, and empathy in the game. And with your help, they could redefine global economies, philanthropy, and communal action. Magnus, always the skeptic, shot back, and what's to stop this from becoming another digital bubble? A fleeting fad that bursts in the real world. Elysia paused, allowing the weight of the question to linger before replying, because behind every pixel, behind every GRA ticket, there's a real person. A person who believes in a better world just as you do. The room grew silent as the implications of her words settled. Finally, Magnus stood, extending a hand. Dr. Grati, let's make history together. Their handshake sealed the alliance, two visionaries from different worlds united by a shared dream. A dream that promised to change the world, one act of gratitude at a time. Chapter 15. Daniel's Dilemma. The view from Daniel's penthouse, perched high above the sprawling urban expanse, had always been a source of solace. But tonight, as neon lights danced across the skyline and the hum of the metropolis reached a feverish crescendo, his thoughts were tumultuous. A bottle of single malt, its contents now nearly depleted, sat on the mahogany desk beside an open journal. Its pages, illuminated only by the dim glow of the desk lamp, bore witness to the storm raging within him. October 23rd. It's hard to escape the whispers. Everywhere I go, from the decadent ballrooms to the grungy underground pubs, everyone's talking about Gratitopia. Elysia's vision. Her dream. A dream I was once part of. But now? I'm ensnared in this gilded cage, bound by my family's legacy and their allegiance to the syndicate. Their ambition, cloaked in benevolence, is a guise I no longer buy. As he scribbled, there was a knock. A soft, hesitant one. It was Rosa, the only person who knew of his tormented allegiance. As a childhood nanny, her loyalty to Daniel was unshaken by his family's politics. She walked in, her face etched with concern. "Daniel, you're brooding again." He looked up, his eyes red-rimmed. "It's this damned game, Rosa. It's everywhere. And Elysia. She's succeeding. She's changing the world, and what am I doing?" Rosa settled beside him, her voice soft but firm. "You're doing what you have to. Remember, not all of us have the luxury of choice." Daniel downed another shot, the burn a mere echo of the fire in his heart. "But what if I did? What if I chose Elysia's dream over my family's machinations? Would it make me a traitor? Or a hero?" Rosa sighed, leaning closer. "Daniel, the world is not black and white. But maybe, just maybe, it's not about choosing sides. It's about finding a way to bridge the gap, to bring both worlds together." The weight of her words pressed on him. The game Gratitopia wasn't just a virtual landscape, it was a mirror to his soul, reflecting his desires and conflicts. The question wasn't whether he'd confront them, but when.